Gentleman from Tennessee, Dr. DesJarlais, is recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Horowitz, for your time and testimony here today. You did determine in your report that there was political bias against President Trump, evidenced by the struck page text, correct?
Correct.
Okay. These same agents assigned to the Clinton investigation were then assigned to the Russian probe, correct?
Correct.
Do you think that this probe, the Russian probe, then could potentially have been tainted by the same political bias?
I'm not going to opine on that, Congressman. We focused in this review on the mid-year investigation. As you know, we have the ongoing work that we're doing, so I'll defer on that if I could.
But it's reasonable then, if you found agents with political bias against the President that were then assigned to the Russia probe, that certainly that is something that needs to be looked at.
It's certainly a reasonable question and something, as I said, that we're looking at in our ongoing review.
Now, I assume you watch the news.
Occasionally. I try not to, actually, as much as perhaps I have in the past. But
do you believe that there is anti-Trump bias in the news, not as Inspector General, but just as a private citizen?
I'm not going to opine on that.
You don't have an opinion as a private citizen?
I might have a private citizen opinion.
But you won't in the hearing?
No.
Okay. Would it surprise you to know that 90% of the mainstream media coverage is anti-Trump?
Again, I wouldn't weigh an opinion on that, Congressman.
Okay. Would it be safe to assume that FBI agents and attorneys watch the mainstream news?
I assume the public at large does, and since they're part of that, I assume they do.
Okay. So I guess what I'm getting at, wouldn't it be fair to conclude that some of the biased coverage has impacted their ability to fairly conduct their investigation?
I couldn't draw that. I wouldn't be able to draw that conclusion sitting here, Congressman.
Okay. While your report highlighted some of the most blatant anti-Trump sentiments within the FBI, it concerns me that this problem is more pervasive than we think. The FBI is oath-bound to remain neutral and enforce the law impartially and fairly. How can we accomplish this when there are agents that are actively biased against our sitting president?
Look, I think, Congressman, you know, having been in AUSA, worked with agents, tremendous agents at the FBI and other law enforcement agencies. The one thing I thought we all understood is you're entitled to be, and you should be, part of the public, the government, the democracy that we live in. But when you get to your office, you leave your views outside the door when you walk through, and you just focus on your work, the law, the evidence, and that's what you focus on.
Knowing what you know, though, if you were the subject of the investigation and knowing that the people you just investigated were the ones doing the work, would you not be concerned?
Look, I think, again, it goes to what I just said. I was a public corruption prosecutor, and the most important thing, I supervised our unit. People who were working on those cases needed to leave whatever their views were outside the office. They needed to come in and be committed to focusing only on the facts and the law.
But that didn't happen in this case. That didn't happen, at least with multiple agents that you investigated.
Well, certainly with regard to what occurred in October, we were concerned that that did not happen.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time. I'd like to yield the balance of my time to our chairman, Mr. Gowdy.